today I'd like to talk about a little bit of catch up on what's been happening with me in 2019. Big upheavals, and a lot of it I believe is as a direct result of me getting my second Moldavite pendant. And I got this back in January of this year, and this isn't actually that pendant. I've actually given that to someone else now. This is the third one. I'm going to talk about this in later videos. And yeah, we'll go back to basically February 2019, and a couple of weeks after I got my second Moldavite pendant, which you'll see in some of my older videos just preceding this one, that I talk about some big changes that were just in the process of happening in my life. And I talk about this before, but Moldavite will bring up your shit. If there's anything that you, within your energetic field, that needs to be dealt with that is negative, Moldavite's an enhancer. So what it's going to do is it's going to enhance positive and negative energies that you have, bring them up to the surface, magnify them, make them stronger. And my second Moldavite pendant really did that. Within a couple of weeks of getting it, stuff started to happen, and it wasn't stuff that I really wanted to happen either. So at the time I was in Thailand. This actually isn't Thailand, this is Indonesia. This is the island of Lombok. It's next door to Bali, that's where I live now. But at the time I was in Thailand, and I created a great life for myself. If you've been following me, you'll know that. And got the opportunity to go and live and work out in one of the tropical islands of Thailand. And things were going well as I thought. I really didn't plan on leaving there, but the Moldavite had other plans. And this Moldavite basically brought great upheaval to me. I was basically asked to leave where I was staying, which was a yoga resort, and that my work there was going to be ended sooner than I expected, sooner than I wanted. And at the time I actually had very little money, had nowhere to stay, and no way of getting a flight home back to the UK where I'm from. I didn't want to anyway, but the option wasn't even on the table. So it was a real moment of panic for me actually. For a couple of days I was really feeling that very unstable and was very worried. So yeah, I had big decisions to make about where I was going to go with my life from this point. And I didn't have any way of making money at that time. So this was a moment for me to say, right, this is when I really have to show that the law of attraction is real and have faith in it and just try and manifest everything I want. And over the course of the next 6 months, everything that I wanted, I manifested. And I want to talk a little bit about that now, because it's been an incredible period of my life, and I was tested and really managed to hold my own and show that the law of attraction can bring you whatever you want. And that's what happened. One of the first things I had to do was to find somewhere to live. I actually didn't have anywhere. I didn't know where I was going to go, and I had very little money. I actually managed to manifest staying with a friend of mine. Actually, it was a new friend who I barely knew her. I'd only really met her once. And it was strange because actually we went on a date. And I hadn't seen her for a couple of months, and all of a sudden we're back in touch with each other, and she offered me accommodation at her place. No ulterior motive, and it was fantastic. Stayed actually about 50 meters away from a beautiful beach in a fishing village, a really quiet fishing village on this island I was staying on. That was manifestation number one. And you know, when that happened, it was fantastic because obviously I didn't have a lot of money, and to get that free accommodation was amazing. But to be in such a beautiful place was just a bonus. After that, I found myself actually didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew that I had to manifest some work and some clients, and I did that out of nowhere. Just people were contacting me, and I mean out of nowhere. I wasn't even advertising, you know, to get some freelance writing work, and I did that. And eventually I had the urge to move on to another island, did that, and again everything just seemed to fall into place for me there. I wanted to manifest a specific room to stay in that had good Wi-Fi, 'cause it's not always great out here, and a hot shower, because sometimes they do have cold showers here, and you know, I'm not up for cold showers personally. So I ended up moving to this other island. I had no accommodation booked at all. Okay, so I had to manifest somewhere quick, and I put it out there into the universe that I wanted to manifest somewhere within 2 days. Okay, somewhere to stay longer term. I just booked into a hostel. Didn't want to stay in a hostel for too long. You know what hostels are like. So I basically had to move into a place within 2 days to get out of that hostel. Somewhere that I could afford, I didn't have a lot of money, somewhere with all those requirements that I still wanted. It still had to be a good room, clean, near the centre of where this town I was staying. And I got everything. And here's the thing, when I actually got there, everyone I spoke to said I was never going to find a place at the price I was asking for, because it was a very busy time there. And yeah, good luck basically was what everyone was saying to me. And I also said I wanted to find it really easily. No wandering around for hours and hours searching, trying to find somewhere. It was going to be really, really easy. And it was. It was literally the first place I looked at. It was right next door to a restaurant. There was a room being advertised. A restaurant that I went to eat some food in. And it was there. And I was straight in, and I haggled them down to the price that I wanted. The price that no one said I was going to get. It was a great room, had everything I wanted in it. Good Wi-Fi. So I was able to work and try to bring in some more clients, which I did. Now actually this room didn't have good hot shower. Now I tried to manifest a hot shower, so I was wondering, I got everything else I wanted in this room, but why did I not get any hot shower? Why is it still cold? And then I think it was 2 days after I moved in, I came back to my room. I'd been out that morning. Came back in the afternoon to find that all my things had been moved without me, without my permission. And I was wondering where the hell all my stuff was. It had been cleared out. And I went to find the manager of this this hotel that I was staying at. And she said, oh, I've moved you into another room. So I went up to this other room, and it's double the size, same price, double the size, had an amazing view over the ocean, and which I didn't have before, and the Wi-Fi was stronger, and I had a bigger bed, and of course, cabinet all I had a hot shower. So this just goes to show you, sometimes you don't quite get it, but the universe is just working its way. You just need to give it a little bit more time, and it'll fall into place. A great example of how the law of attraction just tries to find everything perfectly for you, move things so that everything works out perfectly for you, even when it seems impossible, is when I was travelling through Thailand and I had to get a minibus. And anyone who's travelled through Asia will tell you, they all know that these minibus journeys can be nightmares, okay? So what I always do whenever I'm getting on any transport, beforehand I'll do my visualisation, and I will try and manifest a specific seat. I do this on plane trips, and it works every single time, and I'll always get the window seat. And in minibuses, there's often one single seat. Sometimes you get two, but the second one's normally next to the driver. So I just wanted the single seat that was in the back of the minibus, okay? So that basically no one is sat next to me, or I'm not sandwiched in between a couple of people. It can be quite uncomfortable. So that was my visualization. So I get off a ferry, and then I'm moving towards this minibus. I'm trying to get there as quickly as possible so I can get there ahead of the other nine or 10 people who are going to be on this minibus. And got there, saw this space available, and immediately sat down in that seat. So I thought I'd got it, nice and easy, in that single seat. And then the other people started to come onto the minibus, it started to fill up. And then the driver came along and said, basically, one of us had to move to another car because there were too many people. They basically overbooked. There were 11 people, and there was a 10-seater minibus. And he was asking people if they would move to this other car. And everyone's basically like, no. So he went round all these people saying, can you move to this other car? And they said, they were all saying no. They were all in, I think I was the only person there on their own. Maybe one of the guy was. But everyone was in a couple So they were saying, no, I don't want to leave because I want to sit with my partner or my friend. And so he went round everyone. And this is the funny thing, this is the really unusual thing, okay? Remember, I specifically said I didn't want to sit in the other single seater, which was next to the driver. It had to be this one that I was already in, okay? And he was asking everyone if they would move, if they were on their own, if they would move. And I was on my own, I just kept my head down, didn't say anything. And this guy, this driver, was literally stood outside the van right next to me. I was the closest person to him out of all those 10 people. And he went round every single person and said, will you go? Will you move? And they all said, no, I'm staying here. They were adamant. They were not going anywhere. And he never asked me. He never asked me. I was literally right next to him. He was almost breathing down my neck. Okay? All he had to do was say, can you move? You're on your own, can you move? There wasn't really much I could have said to that. It would have looked a bit weird if I'd said, no, I'm just going to stay. But he didn't ask me. Instead, he asked the guy who was right at the back, nowhere near him, if he was on his own. He was, and he made him move. He didn't want to go, this guy. He got a nice prime seat at the back. And the driver basically said, look, you've got to go. Can you move? And he was starting to get really kind of irritated. So there was a bit of tension there. But this guy moved eventually. And it was just strange, you know? But as far as I'm concerned, that was the law of attraction. It made that happen. And there was no way this guy was going to ask me because I had said I did not want to move from that single seat. And this guy actually, what happened was this: only 10 people turned up, not 11 people. So there were enough people to fit in the minibus. So the guy that had to move to the other car actually ended up in the front seat next to the driver. The exact seat again. I said I didn't want to sit there. So I would have ended up sitting there. Do you see what I'm saying? So I held my ground, stayed quiet, but it was so strange because he literally asked every other person to move. One did eventually, but he never spoke to me, and I was the closest person to him. It was really bizarre. I thought there's no chance this manifestation was going to come true for me, but yeah. So there you go. It just works. And also, you know, I've had a couple of flights from Thailand to Bali, and I wanted to manifest both times window seats. This is now 4 or 5 times where I've done that within the space of a year. Every single time got the window seat, even when I had no choice where to sit. I always got the window seat. That's a pretty good ratio, you know, like 5 or 6 flights and I've got the window seat every single time. It's very unusual, you know, when I've had no choice or say in the matter. And the other thing is, I also tried to manifest a spare seat next to me, so I'd have full comfort, and I got the spare seat both times, often on a very busy flight. So I'm telling you, this stuff works. Any kind of difficult trip you've got, try and manifest the flight, the seat that you want, and that it'll go all nice and smoothly and easily, and as much comfort as possible. It works. I'm telling you. After that, I decided I wanted to move onto another part of this island. And I was just wandering around the island and looking at this place, and I was stood in this beautiful place. And there was this, it was just so picturesque. It was by the beach, and there was a wonderful cafe there. It was really beautiful, really arty cafe, kind of bohemian style. And I was looking at this place. I'm just going to move a little bit further. It's a bit hot there. And I'm looking at this place, and there's a great yoga resort across the road, and I'm thinking, wouldn't it be magnificent to live here? I'd love to live here. Not thinking how I could, because the prices for living there were double what I was paying. I didn't have any money, so I didn't really see how that was going to happen. But a few days after I just said that I would love to live there, someone who I'm acquainted with on Facebook got in touch with me and told me that a friend of hers was moving to the island that I was now staying on. And she just randomly said, if you'd like to get in touch with her, here's her details. And so, you know, I said, okay, that's fine. You know, I didn't know this person at all, got in touch with her, and it turns out that she knows the owner of the restaurant / cafe that where I was standing outside it saying I would love to live around here. And she put me in touch with the owner, and the owner happened to have a room underneath the cafe. So I snapped the fingers off. I don't know what the phrase is, but I was quickly in there basically, and literally within a week of just putting it out there, I was actually living in the exact spot where I said I wanted to. Not knowing exactly how that was going to happen. I don't, everywhere I'd looked around there, the prices were too much, but this was a great price for me, great location. So again, it's everything just seemed to fall into place just nicely, just perfectly for me. And that's the way it's been ever since, I've been forced into this situation, which initially I thought was negative. I now realise that actually it was a positive, because it got me out of my comfort zone. And this is something I talk about a lot in my book, The Law of Attraction Bullshit-Free Guide, that everything you want is on the other side of your comfort zone. And if you can step into that tension, if you already had the things that you want, then you wouldn't need to step out of that comfort zone, would you? Everything you want is outside of it. So you just need to push yourself sometimes a little bit. And that's exactly what I did. I mean, I was forced into it, but it was one of the best things I've ever done. I wrote my first ever book, finally. I got lots of clients and became a freelancer and took control really of my own destiny. Whereas before I was kind of at the whim of this yoga resort. Once they said, that's it, bye, you're gone, I had no control in that. Now I have control in what I'm doing. And, I'm making money. I'm still out here in Asia in these tropical islands living a great life. And, I'm just able to manifest everything I want when I need it as I go along. And if you don't panic and you just trust that things are going to come to you, they do. And sometimes in double quick time. So yeah, I was then on this second tropical island, absolutely loving it, by the beach, literally 30 seconds walk away, living at this wonderful little cafe. And I've met so many amazing people who would come and stay in that cafe, and I would talk to them. The cafe was basically my living room for a couple of months. But the Moldavite and the Law of Attraction and the universe had bigger plans for me, and I knew that something didn't quite feel right there, and I felt a calling to move again. And so again, I just trusted, I had this feeling I needed to go to Bali, and specifically a place called Ubud in the centre of Bali, which is like the spiritual centre of the island. And that's exactly what I did. I just decided I was going to go and just see if I could start a new life there. And really my aim was to meet my tribe, because I never felt I'd met my tribe in Thailand, and I wanted to do that. But I just felt a calling to go there. So I booked a plane ticket, hopped on, just went. Didn't know where I was going to stay exactly. Didn't really know anyone there, but I just felt that I needed to go, and I'll tell you about the rest of that story in my next video, because it involves this Moldavite piece here, which was my latest one. And yeah, even crazier stuff started to happen when I got to Indonesia, to Bali specifically. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about for now, and really, again, just reiterate that Moldavite is going to bring up your shit, but as long as you realise it's not necessarily, it might seem negative at times, and sure, you're going to go through some difficult things, but it's pushing through that comfort zone, it's pushing through those challenges, it's going to bring you what you want, because ultimately it's going to make you help you release and deal with stuff that you've not been dealing with. And when you do that, you become a clearer channel, and the power that's out there and the power that's within you is going to get stronger. And then the Moldavite is going to work with the new positive energies around you, and that's when you really start to manifest. And incredible things will start to happen. So yeah, that's all for now. Thank you for listening. If you like what you've heard and what you've seen, please subscribe to my channel, Timothy Phoenix. You can come and say hello to me on Instagram. That's @timothy.phoenix. And yeah, hopefully you'll check out my book, The Law of Attraction Bullshit-Free Guide, which is out now on Amazon. Go and download it. And yeah, for now, that's all. I'll be back with another video soon with more Moldavites manifesting. And until then, hasta luego.